Hi friends, thanks for joining us again with another round of frequently asked questions. Today I want to talk about a special topic that's near and dear to my heart and to many of you also who believe in Jesus. Now, if you've been a Seventh-day Adventist for some time, you've heard about and practiced the gift of Sabbath. In fact, it's in our name, Seventh Day. Now, I need to point out to some of our friends who've also been faithful Seventh-day Adventists for many years, this is just a very brief intro. We could spend hours on this topic. Now, there may be some of you watching this video who may have never even heard of Sabbath. So, what is Sabbath? Well, the Sabbath is a day of rest on the seventh day where we set aside our work and our normal activities and we turn our attention to God and our families. Some of you also may be asking, okay, but what does the Bible say about Sabbath? Well, we first hear about the concept of Sabbath in the book of Genesis. At the end of creation, Genesis 2:1-3 says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all of their vast array. And by the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all of his work. And then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all of the work of creating all that he had done." We also find in Exodus 28-11, the fourth commandment says, "Remember the Sabbath day. By keeping it holy, 6 days you shall labor and do all of your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. But he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and he made it holy." So God calls us to stop working, and not just us, but those around us, to not force or place a burden among those around us either, so that they too can also find rest. But the Sabbath is more than just rest. It's also a reminder of a memorial at creation. Ezekiel 20:12-20 says, "Also I gave them my Sabbaths as a sign between us, so that they know that I, the Lord, made them holy. Keep my Sabbaths holy, so that they may be a sign between us. And then you will know that I am the Lord your God." So the Sabbath is a reminder of God's goodness and a reminder of his faithfulness. Now, life is rhythmic, and it's great to have a weekly reminder of God. What better way than to spend 24 hours, Friday sunset to Sabbath sunset, to pause and to take a breather? There are some of us who work very hard, and if we didn't have Sabbath, we'd probably continue to keep plugging along and working and not stop to rest. And one of the reasons that I think God also created the Sabbath was due to the fact that we would probably need it to save us from ourselves. We live in a world that is constantly on the go, 24-hour programming. The news cycle doesn't stop. Businesses want to make money. Demands and expectations have increased at an unhealthy cost, and we are tired and we need rest. And we have a beautiful promise in the Bible that the world needs to know and be reminded that we need to rest. Now, there's a famous saying that I've heard recently where people, they say, "I'll rest when I'm dead." Some of it mean it tongue in cheek, but there are also some who live to this creed, and I consistently see people who work at an unsustainable rate and burn themselves out. Now, I love cars. In particular, I love Ford Mustangs. The power and speed puts out, it's amazing. But it can only go so far because the fuel will run out and it needs to be replenished. And if we don't stop to rest and be refueled, you won't be able to run and work as efficiently. At some point, everyone needs to rest, or the body's going to say stop. Now, Mark 2:27 also says, "Then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath." And several times Jesus brought healing to people. The Sabbath, in many ways, in Jesus' time, it was a burden to them. But the Sabbath is not something that should be a burden, but it should bring relief and rest. So as followers of Jesus, doing good on the Sabbath is something that we could do, something that we can aspire to. Now, if you were a child growing up in the church, you may have probably had the same feelings that I had at times where it was great to rest, hang out with my friends and family, but Sabbath, it felt like a burden because we thought, we could never do anything fun, i.e. video games and movies. But there's plenty of things you can do. Take time to enjoy God's creation, catch up with others, be creative. Now, as followers of Jesus, we're called to follow Jesus' example. So what did Jesus do on the Sabbath? Luke 4:16 paints a picture where he went to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. He got up on the Sabbath day. He went into the synagogue as was his custom. It was regular. He stood up to read. The scroll of the prophet was handed to him. And this is just one example. And there are several other texts that point to Jesus spending time in the temple on the Sabbath. And not just Jesus, but the disciples and also Paul. The book of Acts records the disciples and Paul worshiping and studying with other believers and Jewish leaders from the scriptures and sharing their testimony of how Jesus impacted their lives. And the early believers came together, they worshiped together just like we do every Sabbath. So, what should we do to remember and memorialize the Sabbath? Kind of just as a summary. Remember by spending time with God. Catch up with family and friends. Spend time in creation. Do good on the Sabbath. And above all, ask yourself, what can I do that can build up my faith in Jesus? That's it for now. Thanks again for joining us. We hope you learned something and that your faith was affirmed. And until next time, take care and remember to smile for Jesus.